And then he showed you what's going on with the superior T4 syndrome with the spine still oriented to the right side. He gave you a typical right BC spine, and then he followed up with a superior T4 spine. And that's for reference. Okay. The superior T4 manual technique we've already done. And then before I know it's about 3:30, we'll take a break here. But before I get into the subclavius technique, you have some very good outlined, recommended PRI non-manual techniques to complement the superior T4 manual technique. So if you had a superior T4 manual technique that you had to do, you could go back and where it says on page 46, all tests are negative. Everybody pull the handout out, page 46. You just did the right superior T4 manual technique. All tests are negative. And you do a right low trap and right tricep technique. And you pick a few of those out of that 10, which we will do here before the day's over. If all or some tests remain positive and right apical expansion, Susan, is no longer an issue, but left apical expansion is an issue, do you see that? Then you've got to do another test. Another technique. What does it say, Susan? What's that black arrow say? What's right after that box that says, I'm on page 46. I want you to follow it. Thank you. We are going to do a right subclavius technique. But if all tests are negative, you don't have to do that technique, that manual technique. Some of these superior T4 manual techniques that you could do to keep airflow into the right side are outlined in your manual on page 51. They all precede, go to page 52. They all precede the subclavius technique we're going to learn right after this little break. So, if all tests are now negative after you did the superior T4 technique, you could pick one of those right low trap, right tricep techniques and supplement that with anything that Jen put on page 51 to help further promote right upper expansion. And they're kind of cool. Look at them. This one's cool because there's airflow going into this chest wall with a diagonal, with some diagonal resistance. Jan, did you give where they can get these, or is there? It's just that where do they go get the techniques? We don't have them in the manual.
No, those are on the CD, but most of those are in the right low trap, right tricep program.
Yeah. So she's just giving you some. Jen's so cool, Chad. She took this manual. You really are cool, Jen. She took this manual. And Brianna gave you others really good techniques. She asked Mike, she asked James, she asked me, right, Jen? We all gave her a few. She then picked her own. She kind of sneaks her own in there. And I'm so glad she does. And she puts this together and she's saying, guys, if you have a superior T4 syndrome, why don't you think about doing these? And not syndrome, I didn't mean that. Superior T4 technique that was effective and all tests are now negative, pick a few of these.
Some of them you probably will find in your appendix, but some of them are just going to be on that CD. But there's a good handful of techniques in this appendix that you'll be able to choose from.
I'm going to just tell you, I'm not promoting in product sales. But I'm telling you, if you don't have one of those CDs, you're shortchanged. Because all you got to do is plug in that title. Isn't that kind of cool, Jen? Go for it, and it'll tell you where it's at. It's in many different places. But most of these are in the right low trap, right tricep section of CD. Correct, Jen? Most of them. I love that seated one. Posterior mediastinum on the left side. Rick, I'd keep back on that wall. Keep a towel under the left side if you want to. Look at this baby. She's learning how to bring her right shoulder back with her right tricep and her right low trap. Side bend to the left. And it'd be really cool if she could do that without that left thorax going which way, everybody? Forward. Keep that right leg forward, a little left AFIR, and you got it. So I'm just kind of taking some snippets here, Chad, and commenting on these snippets. This is a beautiful one right here. Right low trap. Man, it doesn't get better. Right low trap, right tricep. Left abs. All helping you get that air into that right side. Okay. What we want you to know, and then we'll take a break. After every single technique in your handout, pick a page. Everybody go to page 59 and see if she did this right. Go to page 59. You're going to see a Simpson's technique mentioned, a right Simpson's technique mentioned. And then Chad, what's next to that Simpson's technique? A bunch of what? Read the top.
PRI non-manual techniques to complement the Simpson's manual technique.
Isn't that the coolest thing in the world? Isn't it so cool, Stephanie, to say, I'm going to do a manual technique, and then this gal's telling me, here's the things that I should probably do once you do it. Chad, pick another one. How about pick the intercostal right technique, page 63. Everybody go to it. Did she do her homework? Is it there? Okay, Chad, read that. After you do that technique, that intercostal technique, what are you going to see? What's next to it? What does it say?
Recommended PRI non-manual techniques to complement the right intercostal manual technique.
Man, now you guys don't even have to think. See, Kurt, you guys were shortchanged, my friend. If you took this course way back, Mike, in what, 1935? I'm sorry, it wasn't ever. I'm so sorry, Mike. That's between you and me. But if you took that course way back then, we didn't have a gen. We didn't have that. But if you go back, some of that same materials in that course, we just didn't have all this luxury of someone telling us what to do. So every one of those techniques, there's follow-up techniques to help maintain it. We're going to go over a few before you go home. Okay, so Susan, here's where we're at. No one should be lost. Not that you are. Here's where we're at. That's okay, I'm glad. Susan, here's where we're at. We have now got a way to maximize airflow, and now we may have a little syndrome, a little pathology. We're going to come back after the break, and we're going to show you how to eradicate that bug. And then once we get that eradicated, we're going to pick some techniques to make sure it never comes back. That makes sense? And those are coming up. These have to do with the left serratus. And then I think by the end of the day, you'll see how that all works. All on page 40 what? 6. Are there any questions? 5, 10-minute break, 10-minute break? Thank you, guys. Very good. 10-minute break.